Back in 2000, Honda shocked the world when it unveiled its latest creation. Not a car, not a motorbike, a robot.
It was called Asimo and it immediately captured the public's imagination. It could identify moving objects, recognize its surrounding environment, and interact with humans.
Hey, good job.
It was a bit of a left turn for a car company, but Honda imagined that one day it would integrate itself seamlessly into our lives as an artificial companion. And then in 2022, the project was canned.
Asimo was hamstrung by all the same problems which plagued other humanoid robots. The battery was crap, it was super expensive, it didn't actually do anything useful, but that didn't stop other car companies thinking they could do better.
We're going to take the Model S and X production space and convert that into an Optimus factory.
Tesla is swapping cars for Optimus. Hyundai and BYD are beginning to integrate their robots into their own car factories.
And these robots aren't just tech demos. The plan is that we'll actually be able to buy them.
So why are car companies pivoting to robots? And is all this effort going to produce something we can actually buy?
On the surface, cars and robots don't have much in common, but actually they're becoming more and more alike. And that's because cars just aren't what they used to be.
For decades, cars have followed pretty much the same formula. Okay, sure, turbochargers, advances in fuel economy, safety, sat-nav, different styles, different sizes, but at their core they've been engine, gearbox, seats for people, steering wheel and pedals for driving.
But around 2012, change was afoot because Tesla launched the Model S.
There we go.
The Model S was of course by no means the first electric vehicle, not even the first to be sold at volume, but it was the one that turned the EV from an interesting sideshow into a mainstream product.
The problem of the electric car has been solved.
More than that, with its giant screen, over-the-air software updates and promise it would one day be able to drive itself, it turned the car from a mechanical product into a tech product.
It was very much a product of California rather than Detroit, and car makers around the world responded, not only by launching EV after EV, but by festooning them with ever more technology.
LiDAR and depth cameras made the jump from research tools to cars, driven by the race towards self-driving. The demand for more range has meant pouring billions into battery chemistry and manufacturing. And as vehicles evolved, the supply chain transformed along with them. No longer were cars all about iron, steel and rubber. Now it's lithium, silicon and the advanced electronics that sit at the heart of every modern EV.
So car companies increasingly have a knowledge base and supply chain more like Apple's than anything Henry Ford would have imagined.
But despite all this progress, all is not well in the world of the car maker. Raw material costs are up, competition is up, and the customer wants more and more bells and whistles for less and less money.
All this is conspiring to eat away at their profit margins, and so they desperately need to find ways to create a new buzz and attract new investment.
So the idea is to take all this technology they've been working on and wrap it up into a new product. Not a car, but a robot.
Robots too need LiDAR and depth cameras to see the world around them, and they need those better batteries so they can do a whole work shift. And these car companies already have supply chains sending these components their way.
But the really big crossover is in the software. Let me tell you a story.
In October 2022, Elon Musk acquired Twitter, and looking for software engineers to revamp its core architecture, he turned to his own companies. 2 months later, he asked to meet Darvel Schroff, a software engineer from Tesla, with the intention of moving him over to Twitter.
Now Schroff wanted to stay at Tesla, so he had to convince Musk that what he was working on was important. His project was all about how self-driving cars work.
For years, Tesla's autopilot relied on a rules-based approach. It took visual data from the car's cameras, identified cars, pedestrians, traffic lights and so on, and the software applied the rules. Stay in the middle of the lane markers, stop at red lights, don't hit people. Those rules were all manually written and coded so that the car knew what to do in as many scenarios as possible.
Schroff's project added another layer. Instead of a car just following pre-programmed rules, it would follow example, human example.
There are nearly 9 million Teslas out on the public roads, and a significant number of drivers opt in to share their camera recordings of their journeys with Tesla. This gives Tesla access to millions of examples of what humans do in different driving situations. Schroff's project was creating a neural network that learns from these examples. The car would learn to drive better by processing the millions of human experiences in similar situations.
Musk was very excited about the idea and let Schroff keep his place at Tesla. But what he also realized is that this software could have profound implications for robotics.
Where specialized robots are pre-programmed to execute repetitive tasks with minute precision, the holy grail of humanoid robots is to give them the ability to learn by copying us. And car makers like Tesla are already working on that sort of software for their cars.
So you have the technical crossover in hardware and software and the power of the EV supply chain. But car makers still have one more ace up their sleeve.
Since Henry Ford created his moving production line to build the Model T, car factories have been at the forefront of innovation, not just for what they make, but how they make it. The people screwing the components together would be replaced with robots, each one specifically programmed to do a single task again and again and again. And with car makers pivoting to humanoid robots, their own factories with their controlled environment and diverse and complex tasks are becoming the testing ground for this new generation of robots. Tesla is beginning to test Optimus in its EV factories, and Boston Dynamics is doing the same for its parent company Hyundai. And really, it's in industrial settings like these where robots are first going to be adopted. Never mind the bold predictions of certain people. That iPhone moment when we all start buying robots is years, probably even decades away. They just aren't anywhere near ready for the unpredictable outside world. In the meantime, the car makers won't mind. Every robot they build drives investment, pushes the technology forward, and ultimately strengthens the core business they already dominate.
Whether humanoid robots are going to hit the mainstream anytime soon is up for debate. But what is clear is that those companies that have defined mobility for the last century could well do so again.